This was around 1990, and I wrote a poem then called People and Dogs, which was about dogs having a costume party in Tompkins Square Park on Halloween, right after the homeless had been driven out. So I wrote a poem, it was called People and Dogs. Dogs have a costume party on Halloween in Tompkins Square Park. The best dressed dog gets a year's supply of dog biscuits. These are the dogs, where are the people? Why are we able to scoop up dog feces of our pets, but not human feces of our neighbors? Why are our neighbors dirty, smelly outcasts, and our dogs bought beauty products and condos? This is a poem about people and dogs, about dogs treated as people and people conversely, about the dog having their day and the people still waiting. Those people who are not the right kind of people, who must wait outside the park gate. This is a poem for canines, not Homo sapiens. Homo sapiens sleep on stained mattresses on Avenue A, while dogs are coddled by their masters. We lie down like dogs and get up like people. Who are the dogs and who are the people? And conversely. But hey, look, I am a dog. Pet me, stroke my fur, and give me a place to sleep. And continuing my commemoration of Tompkins Square Park, which was, for me, the pivotal moment when the East Village, such as we knew and loved, died. Of course, it's not totally dead, as people, I still get happy when I come here from my Orthodox Jewish neighborhood and my Orthodox Jewish neighbors. So, this is called The Music of 1989. We opened the gates of Tompkins Square Park and let the homeless back in. The Living Theater is on Avenue C and East 3rd Street performing The Body of God with actors and homeless people from nearby shelters. Around the corner on East 10th and C, a block from the Life Cafe, is the Soup Kitchen. It's the year of It's Our Park, Not Your Park. Skinheads are screaming at yuppies, shooting up while artists are covering the park cement floor with graffiti. John the Communist hands out leaflets on the corner of East 7th Street and Avenue A, while Bible Joe shouts about Armageddon. To some, it's a fiery hell. To others, just another art opening. Yeah, remember those? The Music of 1989, Tompkins Square. Artists and squatters are painting the park, while kicking over dandelions and derelicts come the police. The wind blows the homeless into a field. It takes them in and gives them a temporary home. Here in New York, they are as easy to leave and forget as human bones often are. Discarded like the elderly. Their shopping bags and pillows, their bags and tents. 3. Bonfires lit in trash cans dot the landscape. We call it Tent City. Shout, it's our park, not your park, as the cops bash our heads in. It's just another art opening. Tattooed skinheads, kids from Hoboken and Scarsdale throwing beer cans at the cops. Yippies artists all facing off with the police. And when we try to open the gates, our blood spills out onto the pavement as the cops beat us down. You say you want a revolution. Our park has its own battlefield. We have our photos taken with the police, hang flags over the drinking fountain that say freedom.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Viva la East Village, whatever. And to Taylor Mead, whatever.
Next up All right.
Dorothy Friedman.
All right.
Thank you so much.
This piece, I call this the basement her stories. All right. To some people, Chinatown is considered a ghettoized hometown in the world's most highly developed country, and yet success are difficult to come by for many unskilled first-generation immigrants. As for the grown Asian children in later generations, their lives become vague memories to their Caucasian co-workers. Usually one has to find a clique that operates with similar goals, the need to gather as a unit and bombard the American public with their miseries and hardships, or impress them that they are a success with the braininess to succeed and kowtow to the mere generosities that might come in their direction. So stories are told in fictional forms to make our realities, our dreams of a future. Okay, so this is my story, the basement, her stories. Once upon a time I read this at Columbia University about 20 years ago. Once upon a time, about 136 blocks downtown from these academic ivory white towers of Columbia University, there lived a young woman in the Rutgers housing projects located near New York City's Chinatown and the Manhattan Bridge with her mother, stepfather, brother, sister, and 2 half-brothers. She had just finished college and worked for Mayor Lindsay's administration as an illustrator in the clock tower. She had not been happy because she thought that after college she'd get an annual income of $18,000 instead of $7,000. At the age of 22, being single and aspiring artist and had no boyfriends, the future looked impossible. That's the first paragraph. I have 10 paragraphs to read.
We are running out of time. Yeah. And I
All
want
right.
to hear the last open person, who is Dorothy. Are you here? Dorothy read already. Oh, Dorothy read.
So, okay. Well, one day during dinner with a college friend, Lova Ng, who joined the Moonies in 1973, after hearing my latest failed love interest with another Chinese engineer, said, "There is a group of artists starting a publication and maybe you can help." She suggested I go and sit at a meeting in Chinatown. The following Saturday, I went to 54 Elizabeth Street for a Yellow Pearl meeting. They were the baddest, meanest Asian American artists who partied, smoked marijuana, and ate in Chinatown. There were 50 of them crammed into a small room. If you came early, you got a seat. If later, standing room only. The first basement wave had a space in a dingy, water-soaked basement divided in 2 small rooms. The front served as a meeting work area, and the back a library resource center with an IBM composer for Bridges magazine production. This special IBM typewriter got stolen by some gang who tried to sell it back to us. We did not have to pay because I had the exact same typewriter at work, and the magazine and Yellow Pearl did not have to stop production. I can do the typing for their graphics, so I typed and became very useful. I worked, nursed, and nurtured basement workshops growth from 1972 to 1979 for 7 years on and off until such a life became unbearable and useless. This was the time the anti-war movement against imperialism was at its strongest. Our brothers and sisters were being killed overseas. Our identity crises were in jeopardy. Our community was a mess, with New Yorkers screaming gooks at us for a war we didn't start, and so on. Also, it had been a choice of this group or that IWK, I Wore Kuhn, on Market Street, a hardcore group of young Asians emulating Black Panther politics. They had organized the first Asian American, brother and sister while my brother never mind. That part is, okay. Well, that could be continued, right?
You know what? I think to be continued is actually a good way to leave things. We want to have one last musical segment. May we do that? Asking our bartender, do we have time for a couple of minutes?
Oh yeah, if you want to play a couple songs.
It's just one song. I'd like to reintroduce Sue and Fred to come up and close our evening out. A lot of this, for me, was very discouraging because, my background is that my own dad was evicted from his office by Donald Trump in 1987, a business that he owned for 37 years. I didn't realize it at the time that it was that significant. I want to just mention that we have an email contact list that's going around, and if anyone hasn't signed up and you are interested in finding out what we're doing next time, please get your name on the list, because Sue will probably know you, but I'd like to know you too, because I'm new to I used to be at the open mics. Now let me ask you something. Kelly, may I ask you something? Kelly, do we have 5 minutes, Kelly? Kelly, do we have 5 minutes?
She said yes.
Can we do my poem or not?
Why don't you do your poem?
Okay, I'm going to do this quickly. Okay, so I introduced it.
4 or 5 minutes.
Okay, this is it. Last night I read this for the first time. It's written a long time. Can you,
Cover the.
Turn the mic back on.
it's off because I hit a switch?
Yeah, don't cover it.
Okay. It's a little low for me. Can you hear me? Okay, I did this with Fred last night at Sue's Saturn reading. You all know Sue. Thanks, Sue. From, as the host of this brilliant ongoing gathering. And it is all about gathering places. But for me, this is about, can you hear me? Yeah. Childhood, my childhood. Okay, so my dad's dead and I'm writing to him. The lights are dark on 100 Central Park South now, Dad. You should see it. They put up this brand new facade, plastic chrome, like a fence against memory. The sign says, Trump Park East, PARC. Why do all his buildings look alike? Can somebody tell me? I tried counting up 10 stories to your office, Dad, but I can't remember. Does the ground floor equal 1 or 0? Your ground zero. All across America, there I go again, storefronts are standing still and empty like cavities in a mouth it was your job to fill. Once one goes, so goes the neighborhood, just like teeth. Meanwhile, lost souls roam the street, scavenging for food and a place to live. Did you really go back the next day, All Saints' Day, to take a snapshot, but it was too late? They got there first, gutted it. There was nothing to see. Forget it, you said. I will never forget what a view you had, Dad. Picture window overlooking Central Park South. The statue of the Latin liberator from Bolivia. On his horse, galloping over the tops of trees into your waiting room. Remember when you had your bachelor pad on the 6th floor and every Sunday after the divorce you'd pick me up at the door to my mother's apartment building and we'd play house together? Writing this letter, I feel like the little girl I was after Mother left you. All those letters I wrote you, Dear Daddy. Why are you always working? What were you working for, Dad? It all comes down to this. You lost your place. You lost your place. I walk past the old hotels in the old hotel district. This is the boardwalk of Central Park South, which reminds me of Paris. In the days when Hemingway and F. Scott were American expatriates, around the corner from the plaza, Trump bought but could not ruin for the whores. Once upon a time, the charming young lady who was your daughter spent her wedding night there, on the eve of her departure under a new name, the assumed identity of a married woman, the first in a string of disappearances that lead us here. The lights are dark 100 Central Park South now, Dad. I wander the neighborhood of my childhood, invisible among tourists, a ghost in my own hometown. I've come back to the place where she first disappeared. I've come back. We've come back. Take it back. Thank you. And now I wanted to take us to another level with Sue. We have 3 minutes. What they can do. Thank you.
It's your song, so let's get you on it. And I'll just back you up.
All right. Thank everyone for hanging out.
Amen.
So we've talked a lot about institutions and places that are no longer with us, and this song is dedicated to people no longer with us. This is a happy sound for those no longer with us, dedicated to the memory of their love and energy, a joyful sound for those who were creative, who continue to inspire us. Long after they've returned to dust, to those of us who've gone to higher ground, we send this happy sound, happy sound, happy sound, happy sound, happy sound, happy sound. And to those who are among us, reached out and touched us in their everyday routine, always living chin up, although they'd had enough of the pain they did not want us to see. We send this happy sound to those no longer with us, dedicated to the memory of their love and energy, a joyful sound to those who were creative, who continue to inspire us. Long after they've returned to dust, to those of us who've gone to higher ground, we send this happy sound, 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 happy sound. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your pops. Yay. Thank you, everyone, for staying this whole evening and sharing this evening with us. I thank you for my special feature, Jill Rappaport, Fred, Simpson, Sue Polo, Ron Combe, Armand.
All'ombra degli allori vidi mesta seder la mia vigore. All'ombra degli allori vidi mesta seder